Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Let's just jump right in. Today, we're getting into something absolutely foundational for our work, the essential ethics, our professional responsibilities, and that really delicate balancing act of managing multiple roles when we're supporting individuals with disabilities in employment settings. Ethics and professional responsibility, they aren't just background noise or abstract concepts. They are literally the engine that drives rehabilitation and career counseling. So let's dive into this and look at exactly how we navigate these complex waters together. Here is our quick roadmap for today. We're going to flow right from the core of ethical counseling and confidentiality through professionalism and the always tricky benefits navigation, and then we'll wrap up by looking at the specific roles we play, plus a real-world scenario to tie it all together. All right, Section 1, Ethical Rehabilitation Counseling, the Foundations of Professional Practice. To set the stage here, think about the balancing act we do every single day. As counselors in employment settings, we are constantly juggling. We're actively supporting our clients' needs, their rights, their goals, but at the very same time, we're collaborating with employers, community agencies, healthcare providers, and the wider vocational rehab systems. It is a lot. And because of these multiple and frankly sometimes overlapping relationships, ethical decision-making is just incredibly important every step of the way. This brings us to our ultimate playbook, the CRC Code of Ethics. This gives us our comprehensive guidance on everything from professionalism and confidentiality to informed consent, advocacy, cultural responsiveness, and of course, client autonomy. Moving right along to Section 2, Confidentiality and Autonomy, Protecting Client Rights and Choices. Let's look at our first specific ethical principle and see how this actually plays out in the real world. Informed consent. I want you to imagine you're sitting right there across from your client. Informed consent simply means they know exactly what the two of you are doing together. It means they fully grasp the counseling process, what services are available, any potential risks, the hard limits of confidentiality, and exactly how their sensitive information might be shared with employers or outside agencies. Clients need to understand, without any exceptions, what's being discussed, who gets to see it, and how it could be used on the job. It is all about total transparency and real empowerment. And building right off of that informed consent is confidentiality. This becomes huge, absolutely vital, when we start talking directly with employers. We have to vigorously protect client privacy. We can't share disability-related information without clear, documented consent, period. For example, you would absolutely never disclose a client's specific diagnosis, their medical history, or even their accommodation needs to a hiring manager unless your client has explicitly given you the green light to do so. We also need to help our clients weigh the pros and cons of disclosure in the workplace. Because at the end of the day, disclosure is a completely client-centered decision. Some might want to disclose right away to get accommodations, while others, they might want strict privacy due to some very real, incredibly valid concerns about stigma. Our job is to support their informed choice, never, ever pressuring them one way or the other. Which leads us perfectly into another massive ethical pillar, client autonomy. Basically, this means respecting that an individual has the fundamental right to make decisions about their own life, their goals, their job choices, their accommodations, and their disclosure preferences. Simply put, they are in the driver's seat. Now, the core challenge for us as professionals is that, well, sometimes we might firmly believe a certain option would be amazing for them. But even then, we have to respect the client's personal values, their priorities, and their own comfort level. So here's the catch. Putting the client in the driver's seat can definitely create some friction. There are times you're going to feel this intense tension between what an employer expects and what a client prefers. It can feel like a literal tug of war. Picture an employer on one side, super eager, asking for detailed medical info to, quote-unquote, better understand the situation. But on the other side, your client absolutely does not want to share that. In these super tricky moments, we have to strike a balance, maintaining professional collaboration with the employer while stubbornly defending our ethical responsibility and confidentiality to the client. Let's transition to Section 3, Professionalism and Culture, Managing Expectations and Intersectionality. Navigating that exact tension we just talked about, that requires serious professionalism. And a huge part of that is avoiding the urge to overpromise to employers. Look, we've all been there. You're trying to secure a job for a client, you're talking to an enthusiastic hiring manager, and it is so tempting to just oversell. You want to promise them the moon, but we can't guarantee job performance outcomes. We can't wave a magic wand and eliminate all of an employer's concerns, and we definitely shouldn't be making unrealistic promises about a flawless transition. Instead, our communication needs to be honest, professional, and collaborative. We need to focus strictly on actionable support strategies, concrete accommodations, and proactive problem solving. And hey, professionalism doesn't happen in a vacuum. Ethical rehabilitation counseling fundamentally requires cultural responsiveness. We have to recognize acutely how disability intersects with a whole web of other factors. We're talking culture, race, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, language, gender identity, mental health, family expectations, and massive systemic barriers. A client's experience in the job market is deeply influenced by all of these overlapping pieces. Because of that, the support we provide has to be individualized and culturally responsive every step of the way. There is literally no one-size-fits-all approach in this field.
Moving to Section 4, Navigating Disability Benefits, Addressing Financial Fears and Barriers.
Okay, on top of ethics and culture, we frequently have to help clients untangle disability benefits and all the financial anxieties that come with employment. And this is a big one, folks. Many individuals on disability harbor this very real, very paralyzing fear that getting a job means they'll lose their financial safety net, their healthcare, or their overall stability. That fear alone is often the biggest barrier to even trying to work. Providing highly accurate info here is vital because misinformation just breeds more fear. The two heavy hitters federally are SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, and SSI, Supplemental Security Income. SSDI is based on having a qualifying work history and meeting specific criteria. SSI, on the flip side, is strictly a needs-based program for folks with very limited income and resources. We have to help clients understand exactly how earning a paycheck affects their specific setup. To help fight that fear, we have a really incredible tool at our disposal, the trial work period. Think of it as a financial safety net. It allows individuals on SSDI to literally test out their physical and mental ability to work, all while continuing to receive their full benefits for a limited time. It's brilliantly designed to encourage people to explore employment and directly lowers the intense anxiety of returning to the workforce. Alongside this, we'll often dive into specific work incentives, maybe setting up gradual employment transitions and doing some long-term financial planning. It's such a critical piece of the puzzle.
Section 5, The Counselor's Roles, Bringing the Concepts Together.
So let's pull all these threads together. Effective rehabilitation counselors don't just wear one hat. We bounce between several dynamic professional roles. Let's break them down. First up, we are advocates. As an advocate, you're rigorously championing your clients' rights. You're fighting for true workplace inclusion and making sure they're treated fairly and equitably out there in the labor market.
Second, we're consultants. As a consultant, you're collaborating directly with the businesses hiring your clients. You act as that crucial bridge connecting the employer's operational needs with your client's capabilities. You're building a mutually beneficial relationship, but, and this is key, you're doing it while strictly maintaining that ethical confidentiality we hammered on earlier.
Third hat, the educator. Here, we step in to provide essential disability awareness training and ongoing guidance in the workplace. We help demystify disabilities for the hiring managers and the staff, which builds a much broader culture of understanding and structural inclusion within the company itself. It is truly system-changing work.
And finally, our fourth role, at our core, we are counselors. We are there to support the individual's long-term career development, their psychosocial wellness, and to guide them in making fully informed decisions for themselves. Honestly, successful employment counseling requires blending all of this: ethical practice, great communication, labor market savvy, meticulous accommodation planning, employer engagement, and deeply individualized support. All right, Section 6, putting it into practice. Let's look at a final case scenario. To really lock all this in, let's do a quick mental exercise together. I want you to picture this scenario. You have a client with an anxiety disorder. They're about to start a brand new office position, but they are highly uncertain. They don't know if they should disclose their disability, they don't know what accommodations to even ask for, and they are incredibly worried about how this new job will impact their current SSDI benefits. So, as the rehabilitation counselor stepping into this, I want you to reflect on a couple of things. First, how would you approach communicating with this new employer? Remember that tug of war we talked about? Balancing what the employer wants to know with your client's absolute right to privacy. Second, what specific workplace accommodations or supports might actually be effective for someone managing an anxiety disorder in a busy office? Think about how you need to flex between your consultant hat and your educator hat here. Just take a second to really think through your strategy. Let's keep reflecting on this as peers. What specific ethical concerns from the CRC code are jumping out at you right now? Think back to client autonomy and informed consent when discussing their anxiety. And finally, what specific career counseling strategies would you use to ensure this client's long-term success, especially given their very valid fears about their SSDI benefits? Take a moment to appreciate how your role seamlessly integrates all these pieces: advocacy, collaboration, ethics, and individualized support, just to help this one specific client thrive.
Let's wrap up with this powerful thought. We all know employment provides dignity, independence, financial stability, and profound personal growth. But as our closing message perfectly captures, inclusive employment practices benefit individuals, employers, organizations, and whole communities. Your work literally has the power to create more accessible, equitable workplaces. Through your advocacy, your consultation, your education, and your unwavering ethical standards, you aren't just helping individuals find jobs, you are driving positive, lasting systems change across the entire workforce. So, my question to you is, how will you apply these ethical foundations to change a life today? Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep advocating, and I'll see you next time.